Welcome back to the battlefield. We're going to start off today's episode jumping straight into things, and I've done a little bit of looking around and decided that what I need to do is raise a 5th army, and what I want to do for that is get the High King to recruit it, because he has this bonus where it's minus 15% recruitment cost for non-mercenary units. And so that'll just help us cut down on the costs. The reason why I'm going to bother making that change is because we want to have lots and lots of money to soak into the province of Latium once we conquer it. So all I need to do is go ahead and replace him out of his army. And we just need to pick which young man here gets to lead, and I think we're probably going to go with his youngest son, because even though he might not have the most wonderful traits for conquering, he does have pretty decent traits here. So yeah, we'll go ahead and swap him out with this guy. What a horrendous name. Alrighty, so let's see. Replace. Oh, there he is. And we definitely want to keep a cavalry commander in this army just to maintain the army balance that I have. And then next turn we will go up here in the north and recruit the High King and have him start recruiting an army. Alrighty, for now, I think we just need to end the turn, hopefully get some replenishment here. Whether we do or don't, we need to launch the attack on Patavium next turn. So, let's go ahead and go to the next turn. Alright, we were fortunate enough to have another uneventful end turn, and the High King has made it home. So instead of letting him chill out at home, we will have him raise another army. I actually need to go back through and make sure Oh, did I recruit the wrong guy? He shouldn't be available. Alright, well, either way, here's our High King. We can't reinstate a fleet there, because obviously it's not a port, and even if we could, we wouldn't want to do that. So we will raise a new army and get that started. Now, how do I want this army to be balanced? I think I want it to be primarily the swordsmen again. The main thing is we just need extra numbers down here, so the actual army composition isn't as terribly important. We have a couple of siege armies, a couple of field armies. It might not be a bad idea to start preparing a cavalry army. Ooh. Britannic Irish Raiders. What are these guys? They're obviously a javelin unit, but it's a 200-man unit, which is a little bit odd. I like that they have guerrilla deployment. I believe they come from our 3rd class of citizens, so that's another bonus in their favor. But I'm thinking that the Slinger Spearmen are probably just a better option overall, because it's really, really nice to have super long-range missile units, even if they don't have really fast damage output. Well, let's go ahead and have the Slinger Spearmen. Do either of these armies have 5 slingers, or are they both with 4? This one only has 3, this one has 4. So yeah, we'll go ahead and have this army with 5, and we will do a little bit of a, like almost a pseudo-Roman fighting style with this, where we'll keep our infantry, or at least this is the plan, we can keep our infantry slightly separated, and then let the missiles do a lot of the work around them. So we're going to need tough infantry, but we can get that started. Or we can continue that later on down the line. Now I need to double check and see. Alright, so I did get the wrong general for this army. It's okay, because we're not moving this army anywhere right off the bat. They still need to stay in a defensive pattern for now. But this is the correct guy to recruit, so let's go ahead and hire him. Unfortunately, it means we did waste the money on hiring the other cavalry general, but whatever, it's not too big of a deal. Alright, so this army's ready to go. Let's check and see if there's any household items or household members we need to give him. That looks like a pretty good one. That looks like a really good one for him because he's got 4 extra units of cavalry, and then we'll also do that. Now over here, we did manage to pick up a bunch of replenishment, so now we are definitely ready to go launch the attack. The only question is, which army gets to launch the attack? We'll go ahead and go with these guys, because they have more experience. And I need to double check real quick what the diplomatic situation is. So these guys are a client state of Rome, but they don't have any military or defensive allies. I should still check and see who they're at war with, and if I can join a war. The Lusitani like me quite a bit, but it might also help to gain some favor with the Germans. So let's see if we can join the Jor. My goodness. One of these days, the few people who watch these are just going to be like, you know what, this dude doesn't even know how to talk, does he? Just doesn't even know how to talk. That's okay. So they're not willing to pay us to join the war, but we might be able to get in there anyway. Oh, I guess not. Alright, well, if we're not going to get any money out of it, there's not much point doing it with the Germans, so let's check with the Lusitani.
Well, friend. Sit and let your words move me to anger or agreement, as you wish.
I would be surprised if they accept this.
A token, perhaps a modest gift of coin, would have my people.
Alright, well, we've joined the war with them. I don't even know if joining a war like that gives any benefits, but it is what it is. Now, let's go ahead and just launch the attack. This should be a fairly straightforward fight, especially because they don't have any cavalry. And most of their infantry is pretty low-tier levy stuff. So this shouldn't be difficult, it's just a lot of numbers to deal with. But let's get in there. There's not really any angles I'm liking here, because the only places I can set up are on a downhill slope, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So instead, we will go ahead and just bring the artillery back here, get a really simple line formation. I probably won't even bother with the secondary artillery. We'll just have them leave the battlefield or something. Alright, get ourselves a nice wide front line set up. The ambushers can all hold the right flank, because our reinforcements look like they should be coming in on the left. And then we will also keep the cavalry in this army on the right flank. And the cheat codes can go out front. Okay, is that everyone? That's everyone. Let's get it started.
When I was a lad, I once took on 5 men and killed them with my bare hands. Today, we all need to fight like bears. This horde thinks they have the upper hand. Let them feel our might!
I love the general speeches, but I kind of wish that more of the army would cheer after them, because it always feels a little bit empty to me. Alright, let's see if we can get the rest of the artillery up here. There's no point in just having them immediately retreat if we can still get them into battle. But we definitely do not want them firing at will. Alright, so let's set them up. Make sure the archers are good to go. Axemen can hold the left flank. We'll keep the noble swordsmen in reserve just because they're harder to replenish. And then these couple of swordsmen can make up a second line that we will send to the front in not too long. Alright, we'll go ahead and fast forward this until everyone is in position. Try and make sure the artillery is set up in a somewhat organized way. And then we'll get into it. Alright, the Venetians have decided to charge out of the city. It won't save them, but it is probably the right call. We'll go ahead and leave the artillery on fire at will for the beginning of the battle. Then we'll just have them switch off of it afterwards. Also, you can see the balance of power on the campaign map, once again, is very much different than what it is on the battle map. I don't quite know why that happens. Alright, the secondary artillery is almost in position. While we are here, I should send the second line forward. So let's grab everyone except for the artillery and have them move forward just a little bit. Alright, I must have... Oh boy. Why? I'll learn the controls of this game one day, right? You'd think after 2,000 hours it wouldn't be so difficult to get an army to move how I want it to. Alright, let's try this again, and we'll just do it in stop motion. What happened down here is I must have clicked like between soldiers when I tried to click and move the entire army. And obviously that doesn't work because you've clicked the ground, and so it's not giving orders to army units. And then I just shouldn't have right-clicked after that, but it is what it is. Oh, and I need to tell the archers to stop. Archers, go back over here. Is anyone else? Oh no, I caught the artillery too. Alright, are we back in position here? I think we're going to be back in position now. My lines are a little bit wider than I want them to be. The front line's probably okay, but this secondary line definitely shouldn't be that wide. Alright, now they have sallied out of the city, but I'm not entirely convinced that they're going to charge down the hill. Maybe they're just waiting to get a little bit more formed up. I could use this opportunity to get my secondary line of artillery ready to go in a bit more of a favorable position.
Ready to rain down death! Ballista! Ancestors, honor us!
You know what, let's go ahead and do that while they are continuing to set up. Let's get our artillery lined up so that all of them can fire without having to aim around each other.
Chosen swords! Ancestors honor us! Ballista! Field artillery! Ballista! Warriors ready! The artillery is ready!
Alright, now let's get this battle underway. I'm confident that once we get within missile range, or once we get them within our missile range, or once our troops get within their missile range, they should start charging forward. And they might not even wait that long. Are they reforming, or are they charging? It's hard to tell. Just let the artillery hit whatever they can. Even though that's probably going to end up being Celtic townsfolk, which is definitely not the best use of artillery. But once we get engaged in melee, the artillery is going to have to stop firing anyway, so we may as well get some use out of them. I don't think that will ever get old. Watching all of those first shells come out, or first shells, first stones. Alright, let's try and hit the medium melee infantry first. Medium melee infantry or the groups wherever we can. That looks like a good group to try and attack. Here in a minute, I might have to switch over to attacking their missile troops, because I definitely don't want to be just eating missile fire for the entire battle. Oh, and I meant to reorganize my front line as well, just to make it a little bit less wide.
Units have been discovered.
That's alright. Alright, dogs, go start attacking some of these Celtic warriors. Then we'll get your handlers out of there.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Secondary artillery may have routed an enemy, I'm not quite sure. But let's give them attack orders on some missile units now. I'm thinking I should maybe move my front line forward a little bit so it's easier to select the second line. But it'll be alright.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
We have enough range with our archers to make use of them. Let's go ahead and tell the artillery to cease fire while I need to give these attack orders across the front line. Just because we don't want to be getting any friendly fire out of that. Go ahead and go wipe out some of these townsfolk. Just send the rest of the front line in. We have secondary lines in place for a reason. Alright, let's go ahead and start ripping into some of these missile units. Secondary lines need to be sent forward now.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
And start moving the cavalry around the flanks. Okay, we still have a couple of units for reserves, which is good. Try and give a charge order there, but that's not going to go anywhere, so not a big deal. Make sure the cavalry is out of the way and start sending the infantry in. Oops, these guys need to not walk through the enemy units. Alright, who out here is not using their javelins and why? Alright, time for the charge orders. On the flank. Don't quite want to get the cavalry involved just yet. But they can start moving around the flanks. Alright, we'll go ahead and just have the artillery cease fire. Oh, you know what? We can hit the enemy general with our artillery. That should be good. Front line is looking healthy. No problems there. Now it's time to send in some of the cavalry. We'll let the archers fire at whatever they want. We can start sending the flanking cavalry in. And we should start to see the enemy front line fold really fast now, because our guys are just that much better at fighting. Try and get this unit through the center if we can.
Our general is under attack.
Okay, general is under attack. Not good, but it is expected. Go ahead and let the archers do whatever they want again. Okay, artillery ceasefire, you're not being particularly effective anymore. Just make sure everyone over here has attack orders. Let the general go ahead and get a charge. He can charge that light unit, I think.
The battle is turning in our favor.
And we will just let this battle start to wrap itself up. Man. Alright. Okay, so some of our frontline swordsmen ended up taking a little bit of damage. Or a few casualties, I should say. Go ahead and let the general's guards just do their thing. These guys are winning decisively in prolonged melee, which is nice to see. But obviously we're still going to support them wherever we can. And that's the battle. Nice and easy. It sure is helpful to have heavy, well-armored units go up against lightly armored units, but a simple, straightforward battle taken care of, and the Venetians are done. Alrighty. I went ahead and skipped over the end of battle screen, and I'll show some of the stats here instead. It's not quite as clean to look at, but this way we can see all of the units instead of just the first armies engaged. So, for how little time the cavalry was involved, they sure managed to rack up a lot of kills. Our frontline swordsmen just absolutely smashed their way through the enemy. That is always nice to see. The artillery actually managed to get a lot of kills as well, which is good. And once again, the ambushers just blow me away. I think it's gotta be because I'm so unfamiliar with having light melee infantry in my armies, that having a unit who can actually chase down routing enemies runs their kills up a lot, and that always surprises me. Our secondary army, our second line didn't get as involved, but several of those units still managed to pick up quite a few kills. The axemen on the left flank held their own just fine. And that's basically all. We only lost 283 men compared with their 7,000, so a nice, straightforward battle resulting in a resounding victory. We'll go ahead and just occupy and convert these buildings. And that's the Venetians done. The northern border of Italy, or at least the main Italian province, has been secured. And we can move forward. Definitely going to go ahead and change that over to a farm because we need some more food. Alright, now let's see. We're not going to get any replenishment for this army over the end turn, but I don't think replenishment is the concern at the moment. Ooh. I didn't realize the Venetians had taken another city. This slows things down. Alright, well, we've got 2 turns until winter. We're not going to make it up there in 2 turns, so we will just go ahead and probably hunker down here. Yeah, just go ahead and snug up close to the city, fortify, and then we don't have any... I was hoping we had some agents here that we could send up to do some scouting, but we do not. Alright, well, that changes the game a little bit, but not too much that it is unbearable. It'll just slow us down a little bit more. And it's even more reason for us to keep recruiting this army up here. We're probably going to have to liberate that city. The other option is we could try and peace out with them, but I don't think that's a good idea right now. I think it would be better to just delete them. Oh man, this war gets more and more interesting the further into it I get. Perhaps as a result of me just not playing this campaign super regularly, I had either didn't realize or had just simply forgotten that the Romans controlled some of the Illyrian coastline. Well, that makes things more interesting. Alright, let's go ahead and spend some of this hard-earned cash in the province of Latium. We still can't quite convert that yet because I want to get the improved shipbuilding over here and the fishery at Asculum. And I think we're just 1 turn away from it, so we'll wait for another turn there. And I believe all we have left to do is check through some of these skills. Let's go ahead and work on commerce, tax rate, and wealth from industry, because that is basically the entire point of this province. And since we are at the point where public order would go below the threshold of 75 and our inspired populace bonus would go away, we also need to send a politician down to the province of Aquitania to help boost public order for a few turns and get us back in the positive. So, who needs it the most? None of these women need it. Let's just go ahead and send this guy, because he has some extra bonuses that might help or something like that. I don't know if they'll actually make any difference, because I think he'll still technically be stationed out of our capital. But let's see. So let's go ahead and organize games, Aquitania, send, and he's off to the races. Alright, how is everything else looking? Our core provinces should all have excellent public order. Belgica is the only exception, but that should be corrected soon enough anyway. Germania Minor is fine. Latium, of course, I'm not really concerned about that. And then Cisalpina. Once we get the army out of here, once the -40 from Conquest goes away. Actually, the -40 from Conquest isn't there because we occupied it, it's just -15. Once that goes away, we will be looking a lot better, and we've got some construction going as well. So, alright, things are taken care of. Enough looking around. Let's end the turn. Alright, during that end turn, the only major things that happened that I feel obligated to point out are, 1, the Celtiberians requested a military alliance, and so I accepted that. And 2, the Roman legions that were stationed at Akragas moved. One of them, the 6th Legion, has moved north through Sicily. The other one went back out into the Mediterranean somewhere. So the Romans are sending reinforcements, but I think our lack of aggression over the last several turns has made them feel a bit more comfortable and less threatened by our armies. Alright, let's see. All of these appear to be not really an issue. I am sorely tempted to go ahead and let this rebellion hang out for a while, just to help boost the public order. We'll decide on that in a moment. For now, let's continue the recruitment. I don't want to move into Lamonum and stop. If I'm going to move this army, I need to move them all the way through to Bibracte, but part of why I recruited this army here is I wanted to draw from the population at Cenabum. So we will continue recruiting from here first. Alright, so that would be 6 of these heavy swordsmen, which I think is sufficient. We'll go ahead and get 2 sword masters. And then I want a couple of spear units. I think these late Britannic heavy spearmen they will fit the bill. And then the remainder will be cavalry. So this will be a primarily cavalry-focused army. And we'll go ahead and hold off and recruit those from Bibracte itself once we get down there. And then I don't know if I want to get a bunch of cavalry. Or, excuse me, I don't know if I want to get 5 units of cavalry or 4 units of cavalry and 1 bolt thrower artillery piece. I haven't made that decision yet, but we will worry about that decision later. The other thing I have just remembered that I want to take care of now before I forget is our research has finished, so we can convert that to a boat yard. Let's also take care of our next research while we're here. There's not really any construction options that are super standing out at the moment. It might not be a bad idea to go ahead and grab the boiling oil technology. Yeah, none of these are really standing out, so we'll just grab the boiling oil for the reduced enemy siege holdout time and the -3% siege unit costs in all provinces. Also, we need to check out what the heck these guys are doing, because they just went into our territory. I can't tell if they lost a battle, if they subjugated the Helvetii. I'm not really sure what happened. So what's going on there? They still like us. They did not establish a client state, but they are no longer... Actually, they might never have been at war with these guys, but either way, they are not at war with the Helvetii anymore. Alright, either way, it's no threat to us, so we can simply move on. And this army really isn't very strong either. They have tons of levy spearmen that should be easy to chop through if we ever need to. Alrighty, let's see. What do we want to do about the Venetians? Wait a minute, are they under siege? They are. Maybe we can just ignore them. Where's our spies? We need to send a spy over there. We've got a spy down here who isn't deployed because the Carthaginians finally lost Tingis. We'll keep our spy here and have him keep an eye on the Romans. This spy is in Sicily, so he's too far away to be of use. Yeah, we do not have any agents close enough to actually figure out what's going on, except maybe this guy. Or this girl. What's their movement range comparison? His movement range is not super great. Hers will get her closer, so we'll go ahead and send her up here. Have her figure out what's going on. May as well have her deploy while she's at it. Go ahead and focus on the public order, and we'll get some research rate going while we're thinking about it. And then, let's see. This army can actually pop back over to Medlon, so we're not hurting our region fertility or supplies, and so that we can potentially get some replenishment. It also should mean we're safe enough to patrol over here. And then this army can just keep hanging out. Down here, we could run down and sack Asculum. I can't remember if I've explained this in a previous episode, but I'm not moving forward because if I do, I can't necessarily actively defend all of my holdings, and so I don't really want to go forward and take any territory. If I take one of these two armies out of either of their cities, it'll leave those cities exposed. Now granted, Ariminum is mostly exposed to a naval threat, and we're not sure where the Roman navies are, so I'm not sure how much of a threat it is. That said, they do have a navy in range to attack. But anyway, that's why we're just staying in a holding pattern for now. We're just working on containment and making sure that we haven't wasted all of our investment so far into the province. As far as this rebellion, I'm just going to get rid of them.
For the tribe!
The public order right now isn't as important as making sure the Romans don't have any extra advantages if they decide to launch an attack. So we'll go ahead and wipe out the rebellion and then pop back into the settlement. And real quick, let's just check. So if we took both of these armies out of the settlements, public order still wouldn't be in the positive. If we stopped taxing, it would be down to only -1 per turn. So public order isn't terrible right now in the province of Latium, and that's even considering the massive cultural differences that there are. But obviously, we're still going to stay in the settlements because it's more defensible that way. Alright, that should be all for this turn. Let's just double check that no one has leveled up, make sure our armies are doing something useful, and let's see, we could send some politicians around to do bread and games and boost some public order, but I don't really think it's necessary, so let's just go to the next turn. Oh boy, that end turn was way more interesting than the previous ones. We didn't get any attacks, or we didn't get attacked anywhere, but a lot of things happened. So first off, the Iberians, we had 4 different Iberian tribes request military alliances. We accepted one with the Lusitani because they were willing to pay money for it. The other Iberians requested that we pay 10 to 20,000 gold each for military alliances. When I offered just a flat alliance with no payment involved, they all declined. But the offer is out there, so we know they're at least thinking about it. And then a Roman navy has landed in southern France. I guess I don't know if this is actually France. I'm not very good with European geography anymore. But a Roman fleet actually took this city. So it'll be interesting to see if the Ruteni can manage to take that back, or if we're going to have to go and help out. Either way, this is turning into a much more interesting Roman war than any I've had before, because it's not just a conquest of Italy, and then Sicily, and then Africa. The Romans actually have holdings, and they're starting to get up to our other borders, so this could get spicy really, really quick, depending on how they move their legions. Alrighty, over here, let's go check on the Venetians. Just kidding, we don't need to. The Germans have taken that city, so we can send our champion back into the army, and all of their movement range goes away, so they can't... I stand corrected. I was about to say so they can't chase down this rebellion, but they can, and so we will let them. It's another rebellion dealt with, a little bit of gold added to the treasury, and a tiny bit of replenishment needed over the end turn, but that is no problem. Over here, the nice thing is, because we can tell what happened with the Venetians, we know that we don't need to worry about them anymore, so we can start sending our siege army south into Italy proper, and the real invasion can begin. Unfortunately, it's going to take a while for them to get there, so we still have to wait for several turns. But we're that much closer to finally launching the attack on Rome, and once we conquer the province of Latium, I think the Roman war machine is going to slow down quite a bit. Because if we take a look, even with the province halfway conquered... Oh, you know what? I might not be able to see how much the AI is making out of that province because I have holdings there. That's unfortunate. I wanted to check and see because I'm pretty sure the Romans are still making a killing out of this province. Asculum, we know, is making... Yeah, so they're making 7 grand out of Rome and 2,000 out of Asculum. If we compare that to my capital, 1,700 out of my capital. And if we go to any of my more major cities, nothing even close to 7,000 gold. Nothing even remotely close. I think our highest city is Nemesis. And yeah, it's our highest city, and it's making... Apparently, on here it says 2,100. On here it says 2,200. It's interesting that there's a difference there. But yeah, the Romans are terrifying. Anyway, I get distracted by simple things all the time. I am a simple man. Wait a minute. Alright, the Roman legions have moved forward. Where are they headed? Alright, so the Roman holdings in southern Iberia appear to be fairly stable. The Iberians certainly have not bothered to attack, and it looks like the Iberians over here are actually quite weak, so we need to deal with the Romans in Italy very soon, or else we could have problems on our southwest border. Go ahead and give a sabotage order here, so that hopefully this spy can follow that army even if we lose sight of them. I'm not sure if it'll work, but there's a little bit of cheese for you. Alrighty, what have we got here? The general has leveled up. First things first, I almost always go for replenishment rate. And our High King needs to keep moving. I think once this army is recruited, we will swap out the general. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what we will do. And you know what? Yeah, we'll go ahead and get some artillery. These are both melee calves, so we may as well get the higher quality from the lower population class. We may as well. And that should be all for this turn. Let me just double check on Belgica. Alright, looks like it's time to send an emissary, or not an emissary, but an organizer of food and games. Bread and games, whatever. We're sending you off to Belgica to keep them happy. That will do the trick for a turn, and then once this building is constructed, we should be alright, and we'll be out of winter. Anyway, that's enough talk. On to the next turn. Alrighty, this time around, end turn was pretty uneventful. Not really anything to show off there. Hey look, Belgica has expanded. We'll go ahead and probably do something for research rate or population control, public order control there. Not sure yet, but that's probably what we will do. We also need to pick up the last unit of cavalry for the High King's new army. And then we need to swap out the general. So what we can do is get the cavalry and then change the general out for maybe Dubnorix, maybe Dosiri. Yeah, let's go with this guy. He has a particularly bad trait. He's virtuous, that makes him a bad commander. He would be a better governor, so maybe we won't have him do it. Vipo, what do you have? -3 growth, -8% replenishment. That hurts pretty bad, so we probably won't use you either. Circumspect is alright, and these things can change. But the -2 authority kind of stinks. Man, my generals suck right now. Like, they are really bad. Yeah, we'll go ahead and go with Vipo. We'll have him replace the High King. We could just leave the High King in here until he dies and hope a more suitable replacement shows up by then, but whatever. It'll be interesting to see the upkeep change our income next turn once we do this. Youch. What was that, 1,500 gold? That's quite a bit. It's quite a bit. But whatever, it'll be alright. We have enough money that we can handle it. My concern with the Iberian Peninsula is that I don't see any Iberian armies. Now granted, there's a lot of fog of war up here where they're probably hanging out doing other things, but like, they have one enemy, and I don't see any of their armies moving against that enemy. Maybe, if we go like this and give an order, maybe they will go after that settlement and take it back and kind of secure the center. I'm more worried about them taking, our friends taking Narbo than I am about our friends taking southern Iberia. We can handle that later once we've dealt with Italy. And speaking of Italy, let's go ahead and keep moving our armies forward. This army that's close to the front line, we will not have patrol, but the one in the rear can patrol with hopefully no major issues. Go ahead and blow a bunch of our treasury on investing in Cisalpine Gaul. And then let's go ahead and delete another rebellion, and I think we will probably end the episode there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and end the episode here. So we are one step closer, and it's looking like, assuming we don't get attacked anywhere, it's looking like next episode we should have the Siege of Rome, and hopefully the conquest of Asculum, and we will have the province of Latium secured, but we will see how things go, because every time I predict what's going to happen, it ends up not happening. So anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the series still. I hope you're looking forward to seeing more action against Rome as we start to get further south and run into more of their legions. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.